All right, everybody, welcome to the video here for lesson number 8, more coordinate geometry proofs. So the opening exercise is actually a Regents question. It's something that we have done in a previous lesson. So what we could do here for this rhombus, all right, so we have a rhombus. It says the diagonals have lengths of 30 and 16. Well, one of the things we know about the diagonals of a rhombus is they're perpendicular, and they get cut in half. So the length of 16 gets cut in half to 8 and 8. And the length of 30 gets cut in half to 15 and 15. And once this is determined the perimeter, so to do that, we first have to find one of the sides. We can do that using Pythagorean theorem. Because it's a right triangle, I can do that. So if I do 8 squared plus 15 squared, I get 289. Square root both sides, and I get 17 is equal to x. Well, that's the length of one side. I need to know the length of all of the sides, and since it's a rhombus, I know all the sides are the same, so the total perimeter of the shape is going to be whatever 17 times 4 is, so that's 68. Again, nothing really to do with what we're doing in class. It was more of a Regents prep question. So let's get back to these proofs. So in the previous lesson, we learned how to find how to prove something's a parallelogram, how to prove something's a rhombus or a rectangle or a square even, and we talked about a lot of different things in that lesson. Today we're just going to kind of practice those skills. So in this first question, it gives us a triangle. It says the triangle has coordinates of -6, -2, 2, 8, and 6, -2. A, B, C. And it says AB has a midpoint at D. So to get from A to B and find its midpoint, I have to figure out the slope from A to B. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 boxes. So if I just go up 5 boxes, that's half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go over. I have my midpoint here. So this is point D at -2, +3. So point D is -2, 3. I like to write the coordinates down. And it says AC has a midpoint at point F. When I get from A to C, we're going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 boxes. So halfway would be here. So point F is the coordinate 0, -2. It then says to connect D and F. And it wants us to prove that AD, oh, never mind, I went too fast. It also says that E is the midpoint of BC, so that would be here. And it says to prove quadrilateral ADEF, ADEF is a parallelogram, but not a rhombus. So let's first come up with a plan for parallelogram. So my plan for parallelogram is use slope to show opposite sides are parallel. Now to prove it's not a rhombus, we just have to show that the sides are not the same length. So then I'll use distance. So I'll use distance to show all sides not congruent. So let's first start with slope. So the slope of DE, it's a horizontal side, so that's a slope of 0. The slope of AF, also a horizontal side, so that's also a slope of 0. The slopes we have to actually count boxes on are AD. So that's going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to the right 4. And the slope of FE is also 5/4. So Because the opposite sides have the same slope, I could say, therefore, ADEF is a parallelogram because DE is parallel to AF and AD is parallel to FE. Now, two of these sides I actually already know the length of, AF and DE. If I just count boxes, I see that each of those have a length of 6. So those are two sides that actually are congruent. So I need to find the length of AD or FE to see that they're not 6. So if I find the distance of AD, so to go from A to D, if I do my subtraction of my x values, so A and D, so I'd say -2 minus -6 squared, and 3 minus -2 squared. So if I plug in everything that's underneath that square root symbol, so I have -2 -2 minus -6 squared plus 3 minus -2 squared. Again, we're just typing it all in the calculator. I get the distance of AD. I get the distance of AD is equal to the square root of 41, which if I type into my calculator is approximately 6.4. So I can say, therefore, ADEF is not a rhombus because all sides are not congruent. Because one of the things we know about a rhombus is all the sides have to be the same length. Since they're not, we know it's not a rhombus. Now let's move on. The next one actually asks us to prove it is a rhombus. To prove it's a rhombus, I first have to prove it's a parallelogram, then just show that all the sides are congruent, right, or consecutive sides are congruent. So let's first make a plan. So my plan is going to be to use slope to show parallelogram. Then I'm going to use distance to show all sides congruent. Because one of the things that makes a rhombus special is that all four sides are the same length. So if I do some graphing, -5, 3, -4, 7, 0, 8, and -1, 4, I have this nice little quadrilateral. So let's first find the slope of all four sides. So the slope of PL, positive, so it's up 4 to the right 1. The slope of LU is up 1 to the right 4. The slope of PS is up 1 to the right 4. And the slope of US is up 4 to the right 1. So I can see those opposite sides have the same slope, therefore they're parallel. So I could say, therefore, plus is a parallelogram because PL parallel to US, they have the same slope, and LU is parallel to PS. They also have the same slope. Now, I know it doesn't ask us to prove it's a parallelogram, but it does by asking us to prove it's a rhombus. So I need some distances. Now, I don't actually have to find all four distances. I just have to prove that two consecutive sides are the same length. If I can prove that two consecutive sides are the same length, because it's a parallelogram, I now know that all four sides are in fact the same length. So if I find the distance of PL, and I find the distance of LU, if they come out to be the same value, I now know that they are going to be congruent, therefore it's a parallelogram that's also a rhombus. So from P to L, if I subtract my x values, so -4 minus -5 squared, and subtract my y values, 7 minus 3 squared. Type that into your calculator, so -4 minus -5 squared plus 7 minus 3 squared gives us the square root of 17. If I do the same thing for LU, so the x values are 0 and -4, and the y values are 8 and 7. Type that into your calculator, and you also get the square root of 17. So now you can say, therefore, PLUS is a rhombus because all sides are congruent. Now, by us doing parallelogram first, I'm already showing opposite sides are congruent. That's why I can say that.